Senate Majority Leader Sen.Daschle this morning discussed reports that President Bush was told a month before September 11th that terrorists might hijack American airplanes.
Senator, you told us earlier this year that Vice President Cheney called you and asked you not to hold wide-ranging hearings and to limit the investigation to the Intelligence Committee. Looking back, why do you think he made that call? Do you think that he knew that the White House did know something and that they were trying to keep the investigation limited because they didn't want to look culpable at all?
Well, I'm not going to come to any conclusions. It is true that the Vice President has requested on several occasions that we not have an investigation into this issue. And I know that there are many of our colleagues who, on both sides of the aisle, I might say, who take a different point of view. I personally think that this issue now has become far more prominent, far more consequential, and needs to be investigated and clearly considered in a far more comprehensive way.
Do you have a different response now to Vice President's suggestion that you not proceed with the investigations?
Well, as I told him some time ago, we would limit the investigation initially to the intelligence committees, and that's what's going on as we speak. The intelligence committees have a very important responsibility here. But I think once we get beyond the intelligence committees, there are now issues that fall outside of intelligence that somebody is going to have to examine, that somebody, I think, for the public record is going to have to try to clarify. And so I think that the issue has become one that will clearly involve other committees besides the intelligence committees today, and perhaps something even beyond committees themselves.
How many times did the Vice President ask you not to investigate this, and have others at the White House also asked that there be no investigation?
Oh, I'm not sure. There were numerous times. I can't recall exactly how many.
What were his reasons?
His reasons were that the intelligence community was so involved in the aftermath of 9/11 that they didn't want to take people off of what it was they were doing to do something like this. I respect that, but I just feel that if we could do it in World War II, after war was declared, and as we attempted to find out what happened at Pearl Harbor, we ought to be able to do it now.
So he asked you once, just to make sure I'm clear on this, he asked you more than once?
Correct.
And was it more than twice?
Bob, it was 3.5 times. Yeah.
And it was no investigation whatsoever. He wasn't asking for it to keep it closed, keep it to intelligence. He wanted no investigation.
That's correct.
And didn't the President also, I remember him following up with you at a breakfast and reiterating what the Vice President called you about?
That's correct.
So the President himself asked you?
That's right.
You talked to President Senator Daschle over the last 8 months, and you talked about 9/11. Did you ever specifically say, Mr. President, what did you know before 9/11? Did you ever give him an opening to share this information with you or with Congress? And also, can you talk about how or whether you think that the President's decision to withhold that, at least apparently for most members of Congress, for the last 8 months, was a deliberate attempt on his part not to share it with Congress? Or do you think it's just an oversight, or maybe he didn't know? Just talk about that a little bit.
Well, the White House had said publicly that they were not briefed, that they had no information prior to 9/11. That was pretty clear. In fact, I was just shown again a transcript of it this morning, of one of the times when the White House had publicly so stated. So I guess we...
Specifically, I mean, you have breakfast, we met with the President one-on-one. I'm just curious whether in your conversations, not what the White House released, but when you were face-to-face with the President, either at breakfast or at another session, did this ever come up in the context?
It may have. I don't know that it ever. I don't know that a direct question, "What did you know and when did you know it?" was ever asked of the President of the United States. I think there was a general feeling, given what we were told during these breakfasts and briefings, that there wasn't any clear indication that reports of this kind were available. And that was again confirmed in the public statements made by the White House. So I have a very difficult time reconciling what we now know to be the fact with what was given to be our understanding based upon both private and public briefings. But nonetheless, I think that that's why we need to find the transcript, why we need to have the information released, so that we're in a much better position to make a decision.
So in those were you misled or were you lied to?
I'm not going to make any definitive judgment on that. I think it is important for us to get all the information. There may be an explanation. If there is, we need to have it. I'm ready to listen to any plausible explanation as to how we can reconcile what was our understanding with what now is being reported.
So in the public statements, you've just been going over these transcripts, was the White House misleading the public by saying it had no prior information? And I also just want you to clarify Cheney's statement, no investigation whatsoever, not merely a private investigation. I had thought earlier that he wanted to make sure this was kept, a private intelligence committee investigation.
Well, the impression that the Vice President left with me is that he would prefer no investigation. And then when we pursued the matter, I told him that we had no choice but to move forward with the Intelligence Committee investigation as is now occurring. And the White House didn't formally object to that. They made clear their concerns, but I think that to my recollection, there was never a time when the White House said we just oppose what it is you're doing. But they did ask that we not do it in the first place.
And on those public statements, the transcripts you've been looking at, in light of what we now know, was the White House misleading the public?
Jonathan, I'm not going to make any decision about that. What I said was that we need to get all of the information, we need to get all of the facts prior to the time we make any decision. And that includes decisions like that.
Do you have any assessment of to what degree the White House is cooperating with the Intelligence Committee investigation at this point?
Well, the impression I've had is that, by and large, there has been cooperation, although I know that there's been a request for a lot of additional information that is yet to be turned over. I wouldn't necessarily term that as an unwillingness, but the information hasn't all been forthcoming, at least to date.
Yeah, and Senator Daschle, have you called anyone at the White House to ask yourself for this, the full contents of this briefing?
I think at the staff level the request has been made. I have not personally made it. Thank you all.
Senator Tom Daschle from earlier today.